Zone C. Zone
What's up,
B
Guardians?
lost.
Welcome to another Destiny video, and in this video I'm going to be fielding some of the questions that I get asked most frequently. Questions generally about my basic setup for the game. Questions like sensitivity, button layout, all that business. So I get asked these questions pretty much daily. So I figured I'd go ahead and just make a video that answered all of them in one place, and then I can point people to the video if they ever have any questions down the road. So first and foremost, I get asked a lot, do you use KontrolFreeks? Do you use a special controller? And I'll just show you here. Wait for it. Here's a picture of my controller. It is totally default. Completely 100% default. No tricks, no gimmicks, no equipment, no nothing. So a lot of people think that KontrolFreeks or special controllers are something that's just going to instantly improve their game, and that's just not the case. Just know that if you do decide to invest in those things, I don't think that they're bad. I think that they can help absolutely, and can give you some some small advantages. But if you're an average player, if you're just a a casual player, I wouldn't recommend investing in those things. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. Now, in terms of sensitivity, I get asked every day, what sensitivity do I play on? And I switch back and forth between 3 and 4. And one of the biggest misconceptions out there is that competitive players, these really skilled players, they play at high sensitivities. That's simply not true. Bumping your sensitivity up to 9 or 10 is not going to make you a better player. In fact, most competitive players play around the default setting between 3 and 5. And it's just because having that control is a huge factor. And so even KJ Hovey, he snipes at sensitivity 3. So that's not a huge factor. I would say maybe drop your sensitivity down. Now, I use bumper jumper primarily, and here's the thing: with default button layout, you'll see you have to take your thumb off of the thumbstick in order to hit the jump button with the default setting. So what that does is it breaks up your movement. It's a lot less fluid. It's a little bit more choppy because you have to take your thumbstick or your thumb off the thumbstick, press the jump button, and then move it back to the thumbstick in order to do any sort of spinning motions. So the thing that bumper jumper is going to do for you is it's going to make your movement much more fluid, so you can jump and spin and melee all without moving your fingers at all. And that is certainly preferable for people who play up close and personal, people who use shotguns especially. Having that fluid motion is going to give you an advantage up close and personal. Now, I would recommend, if you're going to switch to bumper jumper, then it's going to take some getting used to. You're not just going to immediately be okay with it. So you're going to have to stick with it and stick it out until you sort of retrain yourself. So I would recommend, don't go in the Crucible to do this. Go into a strike or a mission and try it there. And once you get the hang of the movement, then you can jump into the Crucible, because otherwise you may have a hard time. You may really struggle in the Crucible if you jump straight into it. And one of the weirdest things about bumper jumper, and this took some getting used to for me when I first started using bumper jumper in Destiny. Now, I have been using bumper jumper since Halo 2 days, so I'm pretty used to it. But the one thing that was peculiar is that obviously Destiny has supers and Halo does not. So the repositioning of your buttons to activate your super was the weirdest part for me. And it switches your super to your X button, or if you're on Xbox, it switches it to your A button. So that's the most peculiar part of the bumper jumper setup, is learning how to activate your super with that button. And that may take some getting used to. But overall, bumper jumper is a great setting to use. I actually switch back and forth between default and bumper jumper. I use bumper jumper in more competitive scenarios like Trials of Osiris, or when we're doing scrimmages and sweaties, those sorts of things. But I use default for casual gaming. And you may wonder why do you even bother to switch back and forth? Is there some sort of an advantage to that? Quite honestly, there's not. I'm just weird. And I like to force myself to be adaptable, and that's one of the ways that I do that. I force myself to kind of really consider every motion that I make and really give it some thought. And I think that doing that over time is what has helped me to be more of a critical thinker, sort of spur of the moment. So forcing yourself to be adaptable is good for that. And another thing that's good for that is, and you may check out my playing with personal handicap video. One of the ways I do that, I handicap myself all the time in Crucible. I'm not so concerned about my KD, my stats. I just like to give myself challenges that'll help me to train myself to be a more critical thinker. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Feel free to try these settings out. I know that they're not really that crazy other than the bumper jumper thing, but hopefully it's helpful for you, and that'll shed a little bit more light on sort of how I play. Thanks, guys.